Hello everyone, Charles 2 here with the last of these smartphone-only produced episodes, if everything goes as expected. My replacement power supply is supposed to arrive today. After a while, I just tracked down the customer support person on Twitter, and he said my model was old and they would ship me out a more capacious power supply, an upgrade, with 2-day shipping. So it's supposed to arrive today, but I also have to reinstall it in my personal computer. And when I was taking it out, I unplugged a lot of things that I didn't realize I didn't have to unplug. So this may be more of a headache than it had to be. But in any case, I don't know when it's going to arrive today, so I don't want it to arrive at 9 p.m. and then have to record an episode, so I'm just doing this on my phone earlier in the day. But you can expect a normal episode again next week. I should be back in action. I have a lot of things I want to do. There's so many things that have gone by that I've wanted to do videos on. I mean, that's always the case. The kind of videos you see me do, I could literally do 100 times that. Like, when I do a Jordan Peterson video, or Stefan Molyneux, or Sam Harris, or whoever, it's not like I'm waiting for a video I have something to say on. I have things to say on everything I see in here. It's just a matter of having the time. But anyway, so today I figured I would talk about a choice I have to make and solicit feedback on that choice. As I've discussed before, I plan on doing some popular art analysis videos. Video games, movies, novels. And I don't know whether to put those up on a separate YouTube channel and also do a separate Patreon for those, or whether to combine everything under a single umbrella. For a while I thought I was going to do a separate channel, because there are people who are interested in philosophy who will not be interested in that other stuff, and there are certainly people who will be interested in a video on Metal Gear Solid, or Dune, or Dragon Ball Z, or whatever, who won't care about, or will be hostile to, objectivist philosophy. So I figured if ever there was a time to split things up into separate channels, this is the time to do it. And of course on Patreon, there are going to be all kinds of people who would support the production of the kind of analysis I'll do, who will not be inclined to support if they see that their support tier is called capitalist extremist or something like that. So that was my thought. I should separate this. But one day I was thinking about doing a stream, or even not a stream, just pre-recording myself playing a game and addressing emails and talking about the game, just talking about whatever comes to mind. And I thought about where I would put this up if I talk about both things. I don't know which channel I would put it up on, and I realized that that problem would only expand. So what am I going to do? Am I going to cut myself off? Oh no, I'm going to put this up on this channel, so I have to artificially restrict my integration. Oh, if I have a thought about this video game that comes up because I'm talking about philosophy, I can't talk about that because this isn't going up on that channel to that audience. And, I think Rucka and I talked about this a little bit on our last video, and he's mentioned it a few times, just the problem of having two different audiences, because he's famous for his comedy rap, but he also talks about philosophy. More recently, he started doing that. And it's hard to know when people come to see him at some public event? Are these people who are interested in just the comedy stuff, or objectivism, or both? Presumably not neither. And that seems like a big problem. And I don't want to fall into that, where this turns out to be to have much greater consequences than it first seems. So now I'm thinking I'm just going to put everything up under one channel, and people can take it or leave it all as one, because I am really the integrating factor here. It's me. It's my personality and my mind. I watch people talk about things I don't care about all the time because I like the people, either their personality, well, in my case, only their personality, because I don't know anybody insightful. But if I did know somebody insightful, Ayn Rand, for instance, I would listen to her talk about anything. Anything. Because you never know what brilliant aside she's going to come up with. So, I've never watched wrestling in my life, but I listen to the Giant Bomb podcasts on wrestling because I like the personalities. So I think that's where I'm at right now. I think that I am the integrating factor here, not the content itself. But I would like to hear feedback from anybody with, experience with multiple YouTube channels, or just somebody who thinks they have a good idea about which way to go. I mean, the problem here is, if I put everything under one YouTube channel, there are going to be people who just will stop watching totally. I mean, if there's a channel that puts up a bunch of videos you like, but then also a bunch of videos you don't like, you may just stop watching completely. So it's unclear to me if I should try to avoid that by having two channels, or just say, no, it's worth it to have just one, and anybody who can't take both can just, I'm not interested in. I don't know. That is my default answer, but then I thought about it, and I thought I should have two channels, but then I thought more about it, and now I think I should have one. So, anyway, this is just to keep you up to date, and also see if anybody can give me any ideas on this, or I just want to give a chance for feedback before I commit to doing this on a single channel. But anyway, that's, I think that'll be it this time. I can never tell how long these episodes are, because the feeling of how much time has gone by is very unreliable. So this feels short, but yeah, probably is short. But anyway, I'll be back to answering questions next time, and part of what I want to do is just play some games and address questions and emails I get that I'm not going to do on the podcast. Follow-ups, or things that are too narrow, or just stupid insults I've gotten, or whatever. So I want to start doing videos like that. The thing is, I tried playing Hitman and talking about things, and I realized I cannot do that. Not with that game, anyway. And again, I think Ruckus had a similar problem. He does his streams sometimes. He'll play games and talk about things, and often he'll pause the game in order to really start talking about something. And he says he's practicing to get better at it, but that's actually not something you can get better at. It's not a general skill. You can't get better at multitasking. It's just not possible. Now, if you see progress, the progress is really that you are getting better at knowing what to do in this specific game, so you can offload it to your subconscious. Alright, I had an interruption and now I'm back. I was talking about, multitasking as a general skill. I mean, you might make some illusory progress, some progress you mistake for progress in multitasking, but you can't actually do it. If you think you're making progress like that, you're actually just making progress in automatizing what you have to do with a specific thing, and it's not going to translate to the next game you play or the next thing you do. So there are certain things you have to make sure that what you're doing, if you're going to multitask, like listen to a podcast and play a game, one of those has to be something you're doing from the subconscious, and the other has to be something you can do, you're doing consciously. You can't have two conscious things or two subconscious things. So you can listen to a podcast and play a racing game or an online first-person shooter. You can't do a puzzle game and listen to a podcast. You can have the podcast on the background, but you won't hear any of it or know what it's doing because your conscious mind will be focused on the puzzle. So that's the principle there. Anyway, so I realized Hitman it's really a puzzle game. And that was not conducive to talking. So I'm trying to find games, things I can do subconsciously while I also talk. So I'm going to do things like that. Anyway, the long hiatus will be over next week. Feels like a long hiatus for me, even though I've been putting things up every Monday, just because I've only had this smartphone. It's a little window into the world, but I'll be back in the world in full, hopefully later today. So, anyway, I will see you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.